bringing news from a different page. Truth served hot and bold and strong. Every week we sing along. Red, white, and true will stand tall. Echo the call loudest of all. With hearts of faith and liberty, together we find unity. Stories that make you think and pray. A light awaits at the end of day. Guided by the stars and stripes, through the stormiest of nights. Red, white, and true will stand tall. Echo the call loudest of all. With hearts of faith and liberty, together we find unity. When the world feels like a fight, hold your ground, stand for what's right. In the truth we'll find our way. Ed and Ronnie light the way. Red, white, and true will stand tall. Echo the call loudest of all. With hearts of faith and liberty, together we find unity. Red, white, and true will stand tall. Echo the call loudest of all. With hearts of faith and liberty, together we find unity. Together we find unity.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie, and the show starts right now.
Hey everyone, welcome to
Hello.
Tuesday.
Good evening.
Tuesday means what? It means red, white, and true with Ed and Ronnie. I mean, isn't that what Tuesday means?
That's what Tuesday means.
That's what it means to me. And so we're glad that you're here with us. Say hi to everyone, Ronnie.
How's everybody doing tonight? Glad to be here yet again. Got a lot to go over.
Whew. It never stops, does it?
No, not
And-
lately.
And the biggest news of the day will take place after we get done tonight. Trump is going to speak to at least a partial joint session of Congress. I understand that there's going to be some weenies that skip out, and
Yep, AOC, and I just had it pulled up another governor or something. Big deal. Let them.
well, I find it interesting that they were talking about maybe I would call it pranks, but I wouldn't call them pranks in this setting.
No.
I even read somebody said something about somebody might have eggs with them. Now, I'm not sure if that is like a prop for the economy or if that's to throw at the president. So,
who can afford eggs right now?
Especially to throw.
Yeah.
The meme I seen the other day said the things that we used to use for throwing at our neighbors' houses are now too expensive. Toilet paper and eggs.
Toilet paper and eggs, right? Yeah.
Well, huge issues right now, obviously, are on the other side of our borders. Canada is really, really upset with us. Ukraine, that situation's kind of like, which hour is it today? If I'm talking to the Europeans, maybe I will badmouth America. But if I want to make it like I want to negotiate, then I'll say, well, I regret. Yeah, that would be perfect liberalism behavior.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I don't know. I got to get my camera adjusted the way I want it. So what do you think? What's your opening thought for tonight?
Well, my thought on the Trump speech tonight, I don't know. I've done some reading, and they're saying that Ukraine is obviously wanting to come back to the table. Zelensky admits that he screwed up last week, which I don't think truer words were ever spoken. I don't know. I don't think Trump's willing to hand him the deal immediately, but it's possible. It's possible. Donald Trump has done a lot stranger things. I am doing my best. I've got my iced coffee. I'm trying to wake up.
Well, I find the whole Ukraine, Russia, United States issue kind of conflicting with me, because other than the United States, I don't like any of them.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, when I was in the military, Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, and they were our enemies.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward to today, and I'll never ever trust Russia. I mean, the next pope could come from Russia, and I wouldn't trust Russia. I don't trust the Pope either, but
don't trust the Pope either. Yeah,
but I just wish it was over with and done, and that's not a problem that we need.
No.
And then you factor in Putin being who he is, and then you factor in Zelensky coming into our Oval Office and being what he was. We ain't got time for all that. That's just the way I look at it. To me, it's a huge distraction over what needs to be happening in our country.
Yeah, and we've got so many irons in the fire right now with these tariffs going on, and Trump trying to fix all of Joe Biden's mess ups. I was trying to think of the nice way of saying that. Having to deal with this crap too. I don't know. I'm ready for it to be done and over with. I really wish Zelensky would have gone in there and done something, signed this deal, that way we could have put that whole Ukraine-Russia deal behind us. Maybe one day.
And when we look at Canada, and we'll talk a little more about some of the specifics, I'm hoping that's a short-term issue as well. I mean,
yeah,
Trump is pretty much a master at getting people to the table and knowing how to get them there, and then how to make before you can make a deal, you got to get people to the table to make the deal. And so that's kind of where he is at in most all of these things, except for the mineral rights issue. That was ready to be signed, but
Not anymore.
yeah.
I got a funny story I got to tell you. So,
Okay.
was it Monday? What did I say? Tuesday? Yeah, so Monday. Oh, my screen just went crazy again. So Monday I was at work and I was in the back. I was washing dishes, and the store manager who's training me and one of the waitresses come back, and they were going on and on and on and on and on. I said, please tell me you're talking about Trump and Zelensky. And they said, yeah, and it's so stupid the way Trump disrespected Zelensky. And I said, well, hang on a minute. I said, let's look at just one thing here. I said, Zelensky showed up to the Oval Office and he sat there without a suit on. And the waitress looked at me with all seriousness in the world, and she says, well, don't you think maybe his suits got blown up? That's why he doesn't have any suits to wear. I said, well, that may be, but while they were in the United States, his wife spent $1.5 million in New York buying jewelry, so you would think that they could spend $300 and buy a suit for Zelensky. No, that didn't happen. Yeah, well, yeah, it did. It happened. Oh, well, then maybe there is something shady going on. Yeah, let's start there before we. So yeah, all his suits got blown up, and that was in all seriousness in the world. She was dead set that all his suits got blown up.
Well, that one would almost qualify as a liberal Looney Tune.
Yeah, I wish I had it on camera.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Canada and
Okay.
what's going on there. I got the whole booing the national anthem thing has been going on for a little while now, and this past Saturday there was a huge wrestling event in Toronto, I believe is where it was, and obviously they played both national anthems before. And the Canadians booed the U.S. national anthem. And I think most people probably know who Pat McAfee is. He is actually an announcer, in addition to many other things, for the WWE. And I've got a little short clip here of his reaction to the Canadians booing our national anthem.
Michael Cole, of course, Pat McAfee, my partner on Monday Night Raw, and from Friday Night SmackDown, none other than Wade Barrett. Wade, what a night that could change your career forever.
Yeah, undoubtedly. A ton of pressure on all the competitors tonight. Everyone wants to get themselves to WrestleMania, but you got to stay healthy and win tonight.
These are the most stacked elimination chambers that the WWE has ever had. Kind of sucks that it's in the terrible country of Canada that booed our national anthem to start this entire thing, but it's going to be a historic night for the WWE on the road to WrestleMania. Let's get underway with the great Alicia
It worked him up a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Now, to carry that even farther, that was Saturday. I believe on his show yesterday, probably again today, he was addressing that. And he's trying to bury the hatchet with Canada. That he took a whole lot of guff for that. And they're trying to tell him that, well, look, as passionate as you are about your national anthem in your country, we're the same way about our country. And so he's trying to be a big person about it. And but it's way more than just an argument about the national anthem. It's let's listen to the how do I want to introduce him? I wanted to say like the macho or yeah, but none of that works. Let's just listen to Trudeau talk.
I want to speak first directly to the American people. We don't want this. We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either. But your government has chosen to do this to you. As of this morning, markets are down and inflation is set to rise dramatically all across your country. Your government has chosen to put American jobs at risk, at the thousands of workplaces that succeed because of materials from Canada or because of consumers in Canada, or both. They've chosen to raise costs for American consumers on everyday essential items like groceries and gas, on major purchases like cars and homes, and everything in between. They've chosen to harm American national security, impeding access to the abundant critical minerals, energy, building materials, and fertilizers that we have and that the United States needs to grow and prosper. They've chosen to launch a trade war that will, first and foremost, harm American families.
There's
Tough
a tough
guy.
guy. Yeah, tough guy. Oh my goodness. I know that this isn't a fight that he wanted to have, Trudeau. As a matter of fact, he's actually already resigned, and he's just biding his time, so to speak. Not Biden his time, but biding his time. So it's not a fight that he wanted, but when you listen to Trump's side of it, and I got a little clip here from him as well, it's kind of like conservative versus liberal thing. What's good for one side isn't necessarily good for the other. Let's listen to what Trump has to say about some of his reasoning behind this.
Mr. President. Say it. You saw some retaliatory tariffs from Canada. There was a rider in the order. Are you planning to increase the tariffs against Canada?
Well, it could happen. If they do anything, we will. Canada's been very abusive of the United States for many years. They don't allow our banks. Did you know that? Canada does not allow banks to go in. If you think about it, that's pretty amazing. If we have a U.S. bank, they don't allow them to go in. Canada's been very tough on oil, on energy. They don't allow our farm products in, essentially. They don't allow a lot of things in, and we allow everything to come in. It's been a one-way street. We subsidize Canada by the tune of about $200 billion a year. And for what? What do we get out of it? We don't get anything out of it. I love the people of Canada. I disagree with the leadership of Canada. And something's going to happen there. But if they want to play the game, I don't mind. We can play the game all they want. Mexico, we've had very good talks with them. And this is retaliatory. This is retaliatory to a certain extent. Millions of people flowed into our country through Mexico and Canada. And we're not going to allow that. And by the way, we have among the lowest numbers we've ever had of people crossing our border. The lowest numbers since my administration.
Mr. President.
Wow.
And we could between now and next Tuesday write down every time that we hear something that is not, the old saying, what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander. I don't like geese, but you know what I'm saying there. We could make a list that would probably take the first half hour of Red, White, and True next Tuesday, just reading off the list of, well, it's okay for you to do it, but then it's not okay for us to do it. You got some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I heard somewhere that every country that increases their tariffs against us, we're going to increase our tariffs by that much as well. And it's getting into being, pardon my French, pissing contest. I don't know. I do understand where Trump's coming from with these tariffs originally. I mean, any other country pays, we pay them to send our products in there, but nobody pays us. So I don't know. it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. But I think in the end, it's going to help us. And Donald Trump's doing what we hired him to do, put America first. And that's something that a lot of people aren't accustomed to because we've not had a president do that before.
So it's not because he's mean.
No, his mean tweets have nothing to do with it.
No, and I guess one of the concerning things about the tariffs is we've only heard of them mostly in the past as being a weapon, and less of it being a financial avenue. And so in my head, when I hear tariff, I'm hearing, somebody we're upset with, somebody, and that's kind of the case, but it's just different than what, we get upset with China and we throw a tariff on their goods, and, it's kind of like evening the playing field.
We did that with Russia when they called it financial sanctions. It wasn't quite a tariff, but it was basically a tariff.
And
I did just find something I was going to share. If it'll let me. Canadian Air Force has been spotted.
oh.
They're ready to drop some bombs.
There you go. Well, I would like to volunteer to be the first one on the air defense unit because that is part of my bucket list, is opening fire on a bunch of Canadian geese. Can't stand those things. Can't stand them.
Yes. Me either. You
sound tired tonight.
I am just pooped. I even went to bed early last night. I don't know. I gotta wake up here. My chair's uncomfortable too. It's driving me crazy.
Well, I wanted to play a couple of short clips. I interviewed Dean Butler, who played Almanzo on Little House on the Prairie. That interview's been done. It's been published, and I've got a couple short clips from it. I'll play one now, and I'll play one later. Let's go ahead and...
People come to Little House because it's a safe place.
Yeah,
they come to Walnut Grove. They tune in and they come to Walnut Grove because Walnut Grove is this little beautiful haven where they get to watch the challenges of living play out in this very bucolically beautiful setting.
Go. There I am.
There you am.
There I am.
We got that out and up. If you forgot who he was, I mean, he looks pretty much the same, just a bunch of years older, like the rest of us.
That's awesome.
Well, let's go with your topic next.
Well, I've got, and I haven't done a whole lot of reading on it, but the U.S. Supreme Court appears likely to block a lawsuit by Mexico against United States gun manufacturers who are accused of putting vast arsenals of weapons in the hands of drug cartels. Now, I did hear on the radio this morning that Ukraine was part of this. It's not like Ruger or Glock is building a gun and selling it directly to Mexican drug cartels. Some of the things that we've given to Ukraine have made their way all over the world. What was it you were saying? They sold it for 30 cents on the dollar.
20 cents.
20 cents on the dollar. I've heard that they've got weapons that we have given to Ukraine. They've turned around and sold for 20, 30 cents on the dollar to everyone. Syria, ISIS, Mexico, Hamas. The long-running lawsuit, Mexico's government agrees that the flood of illegal guns across the border is a result of deliberate practices by U.S. firms. I don't see that happening. I don't see any gun manufacturer, red-blooded manufacturer in the United States sending guns, to Mexico to turn around and hurt us. So what's your thoughts on it?
Well, it doesn't hardly even make sense.
No.
That there's certain topics that are just going to get pounded, and gun manufacturers is one of those. I mean, if they're doing something wrong, then they need to be, punished accordingly. But too many times they're just an easy target.
Yeah.
And that's what it sounds like is happening here.
That's always the way. I mean, it's automatically blame the gun and not the individual or whatever. And then, well, we're going to blame the gun manufacturer because they built it. Nobody sues Ford when somebody gets blackout drunk and wrecks a car and kills a family of 5.
Well, and why would it be a gun manufacturer's problem that Ukraine is selling weapons that we have legally sent them?
Absolutely.
At 20 cents on the dollar. And I've heard that number too. So it's kind of like Trump derangement syndrome or any of those kinds of things. It doesn't matter what it is. Let's blame gun manufacturers.
Yes.
There's guns involved, so we'll just blame gun manufacturers.
Pretty much. They're an easy target. So,
and have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And have a lot of money.
Yeah. So, the Mexican lawsuit also suggests that some weapons are being manufactured and decorated specifically to the taste of cartel members, such as gold-plated gold pistol known as Super El Jefe, Spanish for the boss. These are things that are not illegal in any way, conservative Justice Brett Kavanaugh said of the argument. There are some people who want to experience shooting a particular type of gun because they find it more enjoyable than using a BB gun. Well, BB guns are fun too. So you shoot your dad's thermometer in his backyard and I get yelled at for it, but we're not going to get into that one.
Yeah, Troy's got the answer right there. How about suing Hostess for making people
Absolutely.
I'm on with that one.
Sue Waffle House for my high blood pressure. I don't
know. Well, and if there's a politician in Mexico that hadn't been bought off by the cartels, this might be, taken a little more seriously. Whoever put their signature on that probably right before they dotted the last I was on the phone with the cartel, making sure that it was okay to finish putting that dot on there and so it could go out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It says here statistics from the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives show that between 2017 and 2022, nearly half of all weapons recovered from crime scenes in in Mexico, were manufactured in the U.S. Okay. So what? There's a lot of gun manufacturers in the U.S.,
And that proves...
Just because they're not using an AK-47 or an old German Luger doesn't really mean anything.
I mean, like I said earlier, if gun manufacturers are doing something that needs to be cleaned up, then we need to clean it up.
Absolutely.
But let's not try to blame the fires that are now, I guess, South Carolina around Myrtle Beach is having fires. Let's not blame fires on a blizzard. You know, that makes about as much sense. It again, I think we are at a point where all kind of things like that get brought up to distract from what really is happening and what really needs to be brought out.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
you know, uh, people are saying that Trump may focus tonight, obviously, on immigration and border security funding. Uh, obviously, I mean, numbers that are just crazy. At the height of the Biden administration, there'd be like 300,000 encounters in a month.
Yeah.
So that's a third of a million. And I think it was for February. It was like less than 10. It was 8,700 and something.
Yeah. Yeah. And people are losing their minds over this. Well, okay, give me you're tired, you're weak, you're poor, you're hungry. Yeah, yeah. Like it says on the Statue of Liberty, and I get that. But if you come here legally through a port of entry, there's no problem with like Tom Homan was saying. Legally, there it's illegal immigration, and it's illegal for a reason. People need to understand that it's not right. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
Sliding back with the gun situation, like a cigarette warning. You shoot somebody, they may die.
They may die.
Now that pretty much says it all.
Yeah.
We talk about something going on in Eastern Europe, and we've still got all of the Doge things going on.
Yes.
Do we want to ignore the Doge things because Zelensky came over and was an ass in America? Yeah.
I've actually not heard much on Doge because of everything's been about Zelensky and all that. I'm sure they're still doing their job of saving us money. I sure hope so anyways.
Well, no kidding. I hope that number just keeps going up so that when
I'm sure it does.
They decide that, they were talking about 20% of whatever figure they're going to use would be used for rebates, stimulus, refunds, however you want to look at it, or whatever word you want to use. When you're using percentages, the higher the initial number is, the better it is for our 20%. So
yeah. And that's even if we even get it. I don't see why. I don't see why not. I mean, look at it's only going to help the economy. It's going to help us. It's going to help everybody. Initial Doge findings reveal 80 million in wasteful spending at the Department of Defense alone. Wow. Wow. Fingers crossed we get a rebate. Like one senator was saying, though, the United States, number one, is not in the position to give away money. I don't remember the lady's name, but she literally said the United States is not in the position to be giving away money. And what can $5,000 really do?
Well, what is her name? She's from Texas, I'm pretty sure, Democrat from Texas. And I'm pretty sure she is a freshman.
Yeah.
And she may even end up making some of the squad look intelligent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the squad make a lot of crap up, but at least you sometimes have to look into it to make sure that there's no truth to it. With hers, I mean, I don't like to call people stupid, but some of the stuff she says is just stupid.
That's like AOC. I listen to her sometimes and I'm like, wow, she's dumb.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got so last week after everything went south in the Oval Office with Zelensky and JD Vance, immediately once Zelensky left, he hopped on a plane and he went to Vermont, was taking his family on a pre-planned ski vacation. Hundreds of protesters gathered in Vermont Saturday to protest JD Vance's visit to a local ski resort less than 24 hours after his explosive exchange with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Vance, who brought his family to Sugar Bush Resort in Warren, Vermont, was greeted by a half-a-mile gauntlet of protesters holding pro-Ukraine signs Saturday. There appeared to be hundreds in the crowd. Protesters carried signs calling Vance Nazi scum, accusing him of being a traitor and telling him to go skiing in Russia. Wow. Isn't that biting the hand that feeds you?
See, people just, it's almost like you just wish our side would just be totally quiet for about, how they wanted to boycott buying anything on Friday.
Yes.
Well, which I've not seen any indication that was any kind of a success, but
No.
Maybe we should just boycott talking for 24 hours so that we can hear just how ridiculous the other side is. That they, some things you just can't even respond to. If your cousin Megan was on here and she's a Chicago Cubs fan, that's really a stupid thing to do. But we could at least go back and forth, and she could say something like, well, at least I got to see the Cubs win once in my lifetime. And because there were millions of people that died before you came along that never ever got to see the Cubs win a World Series. We can banter back and forth. But with the stupidity stuff, whether I like the Cardinals or she likes the Cubs or whatever, we could, you and I, we can sit here and we can bring up a discussion that we both agree on. We could sit here and talk Second Amendment for the next hour. And even if people didn't like listening to it, they could learn something. We could teach them something. But the stuff coming out of the left, you can't learn anything from it. You can't take it as anything truthful. I mean, they're so far away from, they're just crazy. And
some of these signs, glory to Ukraine, Vance, Blair, resist, total outrage, Donald and JD, you're fired. We the people are not billionaires. Our cows poop better ideas than Vance. That is literally a protester sign.
Well, again, that's an easy target that the left is just going to, he is going to be in kind of a unique situation that, like, Pence didn't have to deal with, because at the end of the first term, Pence wasn't running for president.
Yeah.
At the end of this term, more than likely, Vance is going to be running for president. So he's going to take a lot of crap that doesn't always happen.
And Pence, you never really did see him. He was always, he was there. didn't really do a whole lot, say a whole lot. JD Vance, I mean, he was sitting right there in the Oval Office, and he wasn't going to sit there and let Zelensky walk all over Trump.
No, I love the way. I mean, that's my way of doing things. You protect the people around you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I got a clip here that it actually just fits in with this part of the discussion perfectly. You'll see.
Only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever, and he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the electoral college vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won a popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the electoral college vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it, 89% of the counties shifted gears. I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
What's a different definition of a mandate, I guess?
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Some people didn't
we should continue to do that. No, don't continue to do that. Find a new strategy.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, he's basically just saying the stuff that you guys are saying are stupid.
Yeah.
You know, when you say it's a different definition of a mandate. Now, Stephen A. Smith, if you don't know him, he's actually a sports reporter. He dips his hands into politics when something that he totally disagrees comes up, and he's like so many there just before the election that just, you know, I'm thinking of Rogan and people like that said, you know, we got to be able to see through the Democrats on this stuff. And he's saying, you know, 89% of the counties moved to the right, and that's not a mandate.
Yeah.
I mean, he was basically just calling Joy Behar stupid is what he was doing. And that's, you know, I'm going to start banning myself from that word because I really don't like that word. But what can you call something other than stupid?
Well, the thing is about the View, especially, and all these people who are supporting Ukraine. These people aren't pro-Ukraine. They're not pro Sonny Hostin or Joy Behar. They're anti-Trump, number one. Yes, period. Absolutely. You know, like I've said before, when Trump was president the first time, he could have come out of his basement of the White House with the cure for cancer and say, look, I came up with this cure in my own free time, and I'm giving it away to the world for free. People would still find something to complain about. And that's all it is. He cut taxes, more money in your pocket. He's talking about giving you overtime and tips for free, you know, tax free, and people are complaining. You know, it doesn't matter what that man does. Nobody is pro Ukraine. They're anti-Trump. Period. You know, nobody is pro the View. They're anti-Trump. Period. Let them be.
I seen a video and I almost saved the clip. It was a guy that actually had found a way. It was like a Ukrainian advertisement saying that American citizens could join the Ukraine National Guard.
Absolutely.
He said, so for all of these people who stand with Ukraine, put your money where your mouth is. Go fight with them. You know,
I didn't see any of them writing a check to Ukraine.
Yeah, they're not, you know, that's what they can do. They can take their refund And if they want to send it to Ukraine, that way we're not sending my money to Ukraine. They can send their money to Ukraine if they want, or they can raise their right hand and take an oath of allegiance to Ukraine in the war, like those of us who served in the military here have done. But that just seems to keep coming back up. It's not about whatever they're making the issue. It's about being opposite of Trump.
Absolutely.
Opposite of MAGA. Opposite of, good versus evil.
Yeah. Doing everything they can to play the devil's advocate, because they hate that man so much that it doesn't matter. He could come out and hand everybody a bag of cash, and they complain because he didn't put it on a debit card and the bag of cash is heavy to carry.
Yep. I get that people are upset with the Putin stuff. I wish he would handle that differently. But I got to trust him in that he's got our best interest at heart.
Yeah.
I don't believe he's got Russia's best interest at heart. I don't believe he's got Putin's best interest at heart. If he really was for Russia and Putin, the first day in office, he'd have been signing executive orders about what we're going to do to screw Ukraine.
Yep.
The very first day. And that's not the case. And Bill and Tanya there said Trump is America first. And that's where we gotta, he's never given anyone reason to believe he is not America first. You can say lots about him, all kinds of things, but you cannot say that he puts other countries in front of America.
No, absolutely not. And it's not our responsibility to be the world's police. That's one thing that's always driven me crazy about the United States, is that, we have to be there to save the world. What was it, like the fourth or fifth comment? We need to clean up our own backyard before we start cleaning up somebody else's. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And with being the world police, again, people are making that look like Trump is a bad guy, but nobody seems to mention the phone call between Biden and Zelensky when Biden got ticked off, and Biden said, you need to show a little gratitude.
Yeah.
And how many times, again, we go back to making that list, and we could just keep adding to that over and over and over. I seen a clip, Barack Obama talking about fiscal responsibility and make him, basically Doge before Doge was Doge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so.
But nobody complained about that. Nobody complained about that when Barack Obama did it. Nobody complained about it when Bill Clinton did it. But Trump's really pushing it through, and suddenly it's terrible.
You know what the difference is, right? Trump is actually doing it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well,
besides the D and the R.
Yeah, but the biggest difference is he's got Doge actually doing it.
Yeah.
It was easy to, what the speech I saw, I'm pretty sure was a State of the Union speech. And, it's easy to stand in front of the cameras like Trump will tonight and say things. But it's just like your walk with Christ. You can talk a good talk, but people are going to look at how you walk and what you, not what you say, but what you do. And so, oh, what else you got?
Well, I've got a little clip here. It's 30 seconds talking about transgenders in the military. I thought it was pretty interesting.
The Pentagon has ordered all transgender troops to be removed from the U.S. military, according to a new memo. It revealed anyone with a current diagnosis or history of, or exhibits symptoms consistent with, gender dysphoria is no longer eligible for service. The memo claims the medical, surgical, and mental health constraints on trans people are incompatible with the standards of military service. The Pentagon will be given 30 days to identify transgender individuals in the services and remove them within the 30 days after.
Looks like we've got a do ask, do tell policy going into effect. So,
well, of that entire thing, the thing that just smacked me across the face is you can be diagnosed with gender dysphoria.
Dysphoria, yeah.
I mean, does it take a medical degree to make that diagnosis, or can you and I just sit here and yep,
Well,
that dude has one strip of blue hair, one side all the way shaved. He's wearing a dress and has makeup on.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's a safe diagnosis that he has gender dysphoria.
I don't need a medical degree to figure that one out.
And I say that because I saw a guy just with that description. I mean, one half of his hair was all gone. What little he had was bright blue and lipstick, and said something to the effect, "I demand that you use the right pronouns for me."
Yeah.
Okay. And if not,
that's my thing too. You want to play pretend, go right ahead. I don't expect me to play pretend with you. I'm not. No, it's not my thing.
People seem to forget when you're talking military, that the object isn't to be nice and all-inclusive and have a bunch of buddies. It's to kick the snot out of whoever the enemy is.
Yeah. We don't pass around hugs.
And I'm sure that the transgender group would say, well, there are a lot of jobs in the military we can do. And look, if you can't do the basics, I'm thinking, let's just.
I wish I could find the video. It was a guy on TikTok, and our military is supposed to be tough, not fluff, and that's what this guy is. He was a kitten. And he was going to join the military so he could fight with his kitten power. And he was slathering on makeup and all kinds of stuff. And then a couple of videos later, he was upset because the recruiter wouldn't allow him to join the military. Well, you pranced into the recruiter's office looking like this. No, they're not going to hand you a uniform. Can't fight. I broke a nail.
and some people would think that we're just being mean, that we're making fun of transgender, and it's a very serious topic. When you're talking, if you've been in the military or if you've been around the military, if you pay attention at all, that while I can't fight, I broke a nail is funny, you know, I can't say a lot of things that many veterans say about being fired at, or, I never seen combat, but I can tell you that when Grenada happened, I was on alert. It happened so fast, we didn't even get loaded. The Marines and the 82nd took care of things so fast, we didn't even get our planes loaded. But they were shooting real bullets down there, and people got killed down there. And being that, not our entire company was on alert, just a certain amount of us. And I wanted the very best to be in that with me. I didn't want people that somebody was going to make a joke about.
Yeah, or show it with kitten power.
That's not, you don't play around with that stuff. That's lives. And so I was looking, I thought I had let me play this other clip from the Dean Butler interview.
And they get to see examples of how to behave and how not to behave. And those examples are very, very clear. Michael wrote, and I say Michael Landon wrote stories that were really little morality plays. And he laid out, in his estimation, and based on a lot of principles that are well understood, behavior choices that are positive, affirmational choices in our lives. And he also laid out very carefully and redemptively, for the most part, the kind of behavior that we don't really want to see in our lives, or that's not helpful.
Wow. That was cool. I want to check that out.
So he's got a new book out. He talked about there is a Netflix series that is going to take place. He's not part of that project, and he says in there his interest in it is that it basically that it stays true to the Little House. He doesn't want it to come in and be a total flop and make Little House look bad. And so it was an interesting interview.
That's cool.
I think I've got one more clip. This one will show just how bad and mean our president is.
So Donald Trump just pardoned a black woman, a real black woman.
I went to prison in 1996. They sentenced me to life plus 25 years as a first-time nonviolent offender.
And then he turned around and said, you're now in charge of who gets pardoned.
Alice Johnson. She spent 22 years in prison, 22 years. She had another 22 years left. Can you believe it? You've been an inspiration to people. And we're going to be listening to your recommendation on pardons. You're going to go over and she's going to be my pardon czar, okay? And you're going to find people just like you that should not have happened.
So you mean to tell me a person that's been mistreated by the justice system, really mistreated by the justice system, now gets to go look at other people who possibly have been mistreated by the same justice system and recommend them for pardons?
That's cool. Wow.
Yeah. We mentioned it, I think, last week, but I didn't have I had the clip. I didn't get it downloaded onto the show here. I think that's a great example of Trump not doing things the way it's always been done. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's another example of how he can drain the swamp.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good deal.
Well, I know you probably won't get to see much of it, but
if I don't, then I'll listen to it on my way to work or home from work or something. I'll get to watch it at some point.
and so we didn't talk about this. I think we probably ought to be back tomorrow night to go over it. If something happens, you can't, I could reluctantly do a solo if it has to happen. But I think we will definitely have plenty to talk about tomorrow night.
For sure.
With what goes down.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I just got about Trump. Well, I guess he's Honda moving a production plant, the Honda Civic, to Indiana. A little 30-second clip.
Go ahead.
Let me see if I can get her pulled up here.
Honda announced they're coming to Indiana because of the tariffs. Once again,
That's right.
bringing additional jobs in manufacturing. You want to comment on that as well?
Well, Honda's coming, and I told you about Apple that they're going to be starting to build massively here, 500 billion, and we have many other companies going to be announced, but we had many that have already announced, and no, it's going to be great. It's looking really strong. I don't think this country has ever seen anything like we're seeing right now.
Look at that bad guy right there.
I was going to say that's such bad for the country.
It is
so bad.
Well, what can you do? What can you do? He puts America first, and that's apparently a bad thing.
It certainly is to some people.
Yeah, for some reason. I don't quite understand it.
Well, get you some rest tonight.
Yeah.
And we'll be back tomorrow night.
Sounds good to me.
Let's see. Oh, let me share with Sunday night at church on Sunday night when we were online. I know several people heard about your mom and her eye being messed up. Don't know. She woke up Sunday morning in severe pain, and then she went to bed in severe pain Sunday night and woke up Monday morning much better. So she didn't do anything other than put eye drops in all day long. And so I know there's been people that were concerned about her, and so that is better.
Good deal. Glad to hear it.
All right. Well, until tomorrow night, go out and do the right thing.